Hi, I'm Dr. McConn, and this is the syllabus review for EDUC 541 Applied Research Techniques. Um, Please feel free to call me Matt. My understanding you guys were all classroom teachers at one time, so I kind of consider us colleagues. Um, I'm only a year and a half here at Binghamton University, so I'm an assistant professor, so please don't call me professor. If you feel absolutely obligated, doctor will do just fine, but I do prefer Matt. We're going to be meeting in room AB 124. This right here is my office, Academic B 246. We're meeting in AB 124 from 1 to 5. My office hours will be Monday through Thursday, 9 to noon. So for the most part, Monday through Thursday, during this winter session, I'm in my office the mornings, and I'm with you guys in the afternoons. If you want to come by for office hours, please just let me know. Even if you're just, even if it's just 30 minutes prior to getting there, shoot me a quick email just so I know that you're coming. Generally, I'm going to be there, but it just helps to know. I have no problem meeting on Fridays, but you do need to schedule an appointment if you want to meet me on Fridays. Okay. A little bit about myself. Not much, but 10 years of teaching high school English, actually grades 8 through 12. Majority of my time was spent at grades 10 and 11. I did that for 10 years, and then my final year, my 11th year in Texas, I was a teaching development specialist for the largest district in the state of Texas, which was Houston Independent School District. That same year, I finished my doctorate at the University of Houston. I have a doctorate in English education. English education is the department that I'm in. My areas of research are really in the measuring, defining, and teaching of literary appreciation. That's really what my dissertation study revolved around. I implemented a quantitative study, experimental research of comparing two different methods of teaching literature. You'll get to know that study a lot more as the course unfolds. So enough about me. Let's move on to the syllabus. Course objectives. For the most part, this is just an introduction to educational research. It's going to allow you to become familiar with different types of research. How do you read it? Overall, this course is really designed to improve your ability to read research critically and think about the implications of research studies for your teaching, for your own classroom, or for whatever position you may hold in education. Okay, let's look at the required text. Many of you, hopefully all of you, received my email about the textbook. I hope you haven't had much trouble getting it. Every time I've used an outdated edition, students have no problem getting it, and they really appreciate it because it's a lot cheaper. The reason I went with an outdated edition is because I'm going to be focusing research studies, I'm going to be using research studies that are focused on reading and writing. Since all of you come from the literacy department, I felt that those were more relevant. And since that's the case, I don't really need the updated research studies that are in the newest edition. Any whole class texts, such as research articles and case studies, I'll provide for you. But for the most part, you just need to go out and get that 5th edition Gall and Borg Applying Educational Research. Okay, let's look at the assignments and points. 100-point total. I've divided it by 20 points for the discussion of reading, 20 points for the facilitating a class discussion, 30 points for in-class quizzes, and 30 points for the research critique. That equals 100 points. The discussion of readings. Pretty much read before you come to class. Be attentive in the discussions, and let me know that you put some thought into the reading for each day. This will also include the Blackboard discussions that will be done the first 3 days while I'm not there. I'm going to get a little bit more into that when we get to the calendar. The facilitating a class discussion. You're going to partner up with someone in the class. The two of you will choose a topic that is done during the quantitative part of the session. The topics are below. You and your partner can choose from survey research, causal comparative research, experimental research, or correlational research. This discussion is this is a facilitation of a discussion that you and your partner are putting together. I don't want to see PowerPoints in lecture. There will be some lecturing probably in the very first part when you kind of go over the information of the textbook. That shouldn't be any more than about 20 minutes. The remainder of your presentation, which is going to be about 40 minutes, should kind of guide the group through a discussion of a study that you have chosen that best represents the type of research you're presenting. You'll want to go over strengths, weaknesses, different areas of the practical implications of the study, what makes it meaningful, why is it important to your field. If it's a lengthy study, I would please ask that you have an annotated bibliography for your students. If you think it's something that they might be able to read right before you give your presentation, that's fine. If you would prefer that they read it the night before, please bring copies the day before your presentation. Again, I'm going to be going over this in more detail on Thursday. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be modeling how I would want this facilitation of a discussion to be done using that day's reading. Okay, the in-class quizzes. There's going to be 7 pop quizzes over the readings for 5 points each. The lowest score will be dropped. An absence will be a 0. So if you are absent on the day of a pop quiz, you get a 0 for the pop quiz, and that will be counted towards your lowest score. The research critique. It's going to be due on January 19th. You're going to be assessing the quality of a qualitative research study. You're going to apply the criteria that we discussed in class to write your critique. You'll also use the criteria as an organization structure for the paper. You'll want to introduce the study with an annotated bibliography and then go into the analysis of using the criteria. You want to look at the strengths and weaknesses of your chosen study. You're going to need to cite examples from your study to support your analysis and interpretations. But much like I'm going to do for your facilitation, I'm going to model this using a paper as a mentor text, and I'll review these specifics in class. Just note that this paper should be your own work, and you may not work with another student to complete the assignment. You are on a 100-point scale, so here's how they work out. Review that. Please note, you get 1 absence, and that absence needs to be accompanied with an emergency of some sort, family, medical. After that 1 absence, you will be dropped from the course. Normally, I allow 1 or 2 absences without any question, and then after that, you're dropped unless it's an extreme case. Because this is such an intense 4 weeks, and we're not meeting the first 3 days, I'm going to ask that you attend every class, and you may only miss for an emergency, be it family or medical. All right, I have one rule: respect others and their opinions. I really don't see this to be a problem as graduate students. I've heard great things from the professors in the literacy department, so I look very forward to working with all of you. Okay, let's look at the calendar here. So the first part is going to be on qualitative research. This will be the first part of the class. As I said, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're not meeting in class. You're going to be doing your discussions on Blackboard. So, as you can see, you'll view the syllabus video that you're doing right now. You're going to read the preface, Chapter 1, Chapter 10. Those are the page numbers. I put the page numbers for each one because you don't need to go into the studies that they have as examples of those methods. And then you'll respond to the questions on Blackboard. One thing I ask on each of the sets of questions is that you answer them before reading your classmates' responses to them. Then go back and read your classmates' responses. I do this for 2 reasons. One, I really think it gets you thinking on your own about the information. But more importantly, when you go back and read your classmates' commentary, I think you have a more genuine response to what they have to say, if you have a response or want to further question them at all. One thing I do want to say about these Blackboard discussions that might kind of annoying to me, I put in there a part where you're going to be doing these self-check questions at the end of the chapter. I do believe that the questions are just a good review of what you've read. However, I've kind of put in the Blackboard discussion an area where, did you miss any of them? And if you did, what made it difficult? Why did you put this? To be honest with you, those self-check questions are pretty straightforward. So if they are straightforward and you didn't miss any and you just don't really have much to say about that, then don't worry about it. I would prefer that you not respond at all than to respond, with a forced answer just to answer it. Okay, Tuesday's the same thing. Read chapter 11, respond to the questions on the discussion board. Same thing with Wednesday. Read chapter 12 and respond to the questions on the discussion board. Then when we come on Thursday, so I will be coming back from my hiking trip where I literally will not have had any internet or any way of being contacted. So when I get in on Wednesday night from my trip, I will have an evening of reading all your responses on Blackboard. So when I come in on Thursday, I'm going to start with a little get to know you, even if it's just around the table. I'll talk more about myself, not much, so don't get too excited. Answer any questions that you might have. Then I'm going to review the first 3 days and what you guys wrote on Blackboard. And then I'm going to model how you guys will want to facilitate your discussions using the chapter on action research. I'll then end that class period with a look at the criteria that you're going to apply to research presented during the coming weeks, as well as the criteria you're going to be using for your own research critique that you're going to write. So again, you'll come in Thursday, kind of get to know you. I'll review the first 3 days in Blackboard discussion. I'll then go over action research chapter, modeling how I'd want you to facilitate your discussion for your assignment, and then we'll end looking at the criteria. The rest of the days in class, the outline for the class is going to be fairly similar from day to day. I haven't given too much reading outside of class. And one of the reasons for that is because I'm going to set aside time during class for you to read the studies. So instead of me assigning you the textbook pages and this lengthy research study, and then we come in and talk about it, I would prefer that you really get to know the textbook chapters that I'm assigning, get to know that information, have a clear understanding of the types of research we're going to look at, and then when you come in class, I'm going to set aside about an hour for us to read through research studies together so that we are all on the same page as we ask questions and analyze the criteria. So that's the first hour. Then I also will kind of be leading discussions over the chapters of what we read. And then there may or may not be a faculty from literacy department or a faculty from GSE who will come in and talk about the research they're doing that aligns with the type of research that we're going to be looking at. You also will have your, some days, you guys will be starting the class with your class discussions, whatever topic you've chosen and when that falls. So each day, it's really going to be a lot of reading in the class, analysis of studies, and discussion of what the readings that have taken place. And that's pretty much up and through till the end of the winter course. As the second half is going to be quantitative research designs. This is when you're going to see that each pairing will have their facilitated discussion to be implemented. And then the final day, which will be Thursday, January 22nd, we're going to review and reflect. This is pretty much going to be, what did you learn from the class? How well is it going to do you feel it's made you a better educator? I'm going to return your qualitative analysis paper. Remember, you will turn those in that Monday. And so hopefully leading up to Thursday, I will have an opportunity to talk to you about your paper and kind of highlight the things that I'm going to want you to talk to the class about. I'm also going to ask on that Thursday that you bring in a quantitative study to discuss. It's the same kind of idea. You'll want to go over the criteria that we cover in class, looking at strengths and weaknesses and its practical implications. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I've heard great things from the professors in the literacy department, and I really look forward to working with you guys this January. See you Thursday the 8th.